welcome back to the 2025 SEC Baseball Tournament Game 9 post-game press conference. We're joined by the Tennessee Volunteers, represented by head coach Tony Vitello, along with pitcher Brandon Arvidsson and infielder Gavin Keelan. And in a moment, Coach will give an opening statement, and we'll take questions directed to the players only, please. Wait for the microphones and identify yourself when asking a question. Coach, if we can get an opening statement.
Yeah, for me, I don't want to mess it up. I mean, it was too good of a game to say too much. It's an ESPN classic. I'll recycle an answer I talked about with the guys up there. One of my favorite little periods of MLB playoff baseball was when Kenny Rogers, at a much older age than Brandon Arvidsson, just went on a tear. And him being out there left-handed, it just kind of reminded me of that and enjoyed it. Would have been unfair for it to work out against his favor, especially if he was on the mound, but it's not fair. It's chaotic, and it's postseason baseball. And the fact we beat them, we're able to beat them. I think just playing this game will help both teams. But I guess the point I was going to make is I don't want to speak for them, but I think the reason they won the league, or the number one reason, is their bullpen is so good. And so for the reason that we were able to get it done against their bullpen, I think our guys should take great confidence in that.
Let's start in the front row for the players.
Brandon, Ryan Shumper, Rocky Top Insider. Your last 4 outings now, I think you have like a 45% strikeout rate and just walked one batter. What's been so key for you to get going and have that success?
Just getting ahead. I mean, that's kind of been the focus all year, and why I faced some struggles earlier in the year is just falling behind hitters and clawing my way back into counts. So just getting ahead has been big for me.
Front row on the left.
Ben McKee, 24/7 Sports. Brendan, just being a Texan and having history with both schools, what did that performance mean to you today, and what was working so well for you?
Yeah, it's definitely an incentive to pitch better, but I was excited to go out there no matter who we were facing. But, I mean, the curveball was really working today. I felt like I could throw it anywhere, and the fastball command was good as well. So, yeah, that was about it.
Let's center of the room in blue.
Gavin, Tristan, WTK, Rock Solid Sports. That's one of the toughest bullpens in the SEC. What did you see there late to get those 2 clutch hits for you guys?
I think just doing a good job of, reading the reports. All our analytics guys and Elander do a great job of giving us, NV as well, just preparing us as best as well to do good when we get an opportunity. And, I just got a good pitch to do that on a couple of times and, fought some good counts, got deep for the home run, and, just did my job to help us win.
On the right side, third row.
Trevor McGee, the Daily Beacon. Gavin, what makes Brennan's breaking ball so difficult as a hitter?
Because he's 6'5" and throws it over the top of his head from the moon. I've never been able to hit it. That's all I got. Simple as that.
She did hit it once.
Right behind him on the right.
Harrison Fan, SEC Unfiltered. Gavin, kind of playing off of that as well, but when facing a guy like Dylan Valencia and just kind of the unique and intriguing matchup that he is, how kind of he delivers his super high release height, his downhill sink. What's kind of the mindset and approach going into facing an arm like that you don't really see every day, and just how consistently dominant he's been? Obviously, SEC pitcher of the year, or freshman of the year, excuse me. And just in that moment too, what are you kind of looking for that you're able to hit and just do damage with?
I think for me personally, having a little bit of struggles against lefties right now, I think for me it's just making sure to see breaking balls up, and especially a guy with a little bit of sink and run, it's going to come in on my hand, so I need to make sure it's over the plate. And I just got in a good count, 2-0, and hit a good pitch.
Any more for the players? In the front row on the left.
Gavin, what was going through your head as you were watching Brandon do what he did out there on the mound, and what do you think that does for y'all's team and the bullpen?
I think it just adds another, vital piece to our bullpen. Just another guy that, personally, being his roommate, I see all the hard work and everything that he does on a day-in, day-out basis. So I think just being able to, pitch as well as he did was very exciting for me, because I know all of our teammates and all of us see how great he can be and his potential, and I think he showed really well tonight.
Any more for the players? If not, Gavin and Brendan, thanks for your time today. Good luck the rest of the way.
Are we allowed to keep these?
Yeah, you can. Oh, yeah. It's over there. Oh, hey, let me keep that till. I'll give it to you at the end of the tournament.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought you were talking about the towels. You're welcome to take that. Might need them again tomorrow or Saturday.
Might need to silence that choo-choo train, too. It's got to be one of those 2 guys.
It's pretty good. Sound effects will be added next week. All right, if we have questions for the players.
Yeah.
let them get out of here. We'll start on the right side.
Yeah, Tony, obviously we talked a lot about AJ yesterday and what he gave you guys. What does it mean for this bullpen as a whole when you've got AJ doing what he did yesterday and Brandon doing what he did today?
I think it means you're making progress. I mean, the play that stands out to me as I was sitting here listening to their answers is Ariel had that exact same play and, tried to go a little too fast and, we didn't get a double play. That was a more difficult play than the one that occurred earlier, a week ago or whatever it was. And you had to be super quick to do that. So that's just one occasion. But I think whether it's Arv or Russell or People's defense, guys coming off the bench, I think there's consistent progress. And none of us know how long the season is for any of us when we go out there and play. But I think the more days we have around each other, the closer this group gets, the more fun they get. And we are making progress, which as a coach, makes you feel good.
Right next to him on the right.
Tony, kind of similar question I asked Brandon. His last 4 outings have been really good. What, from your vantage point in the dugout, why has he been able to be so effective in those outings?
I think he just needed reps. I think it's accumulated, and it's kind of like Levi. I think he just needed some SEC reps and figure out, it's arguably the best college baseball, but it's just college baseball, and therefore it's just baseball. So that's one example, again, of a guy just needing reps. And I think we've had guys playing positions they don't normally play. And anytime we make an adjustment with our guy at first, he adjusts. And so with him, I think he just needed reps. And earlier in the year, we made the decision, in particular me, to go reps or times out appearances as opposed to length. But today was a day where you kind of tell kids all the time, make me take you out of the lineup or make me travel you, make me play you, make me rip the ball out of your hand. And I would have got probably not just thrown out of our dugout, but probably hurt if I would have taken him out before some damage was done. And again, I'm glad that he was able to leave the park with a smile today because it was an epic effort.
Front row on the left.
Tony, another game where kind of resiliency is the theme, especially after those first couple of innings and then getting to their bullpen like you talked about. What did you see from your team today, and maybe what was the difference in the offense first half compared to second half?
We played tremendous defense, helped keep us in the game all game long. Our pitchers obviously did a good job. We've been talking about Arv, but, he had a huge out yesterday, which is crazy to look back on, and then Deloy did that today. That was massive. And then Snead's got to come in a big-time pressure situation, but by now he's done that a million times. Sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it doesn't. So I think the offensive thing was a byproduct of just the team effort. The dugout was good, the pitching was good, the defense was good. So the hitting eventually kind of had to catch up. But it was a depressing first 4 innings, I won't lie. I think in Liam's defense, I think he just tried to make up for last weekend. He wanted to throw 2 shutouts in one game, which is impossible. He kind of even made some comments about that. So it'll be a good lesson learned to be under control the next time he's out. But again, Texas, Arkansas, these are great lineups. But I think our hitting just kind of caught up with the rest of what was going on. And you got to give Walker some credit. He was called upon and took advantage of it.
Second row on the right.
Coach, Matt Howey from World Baseball Network. What's it like to have a guy like Peebles be such a catalyst to your offense, especially having that 2-run single in the top of the 5th to get you guys on the board, and also just helping the pitching staff over 200 pitches today and 12 innings behind the dish?
Yeah, he's another example. We got Stone a pinch hit at bat, but Coach Elander, who works with the catchers, is dying to see Stone out there. And then really push comes to shove, we're all dying to see Levi get reps so he gets better. But Cannon's our guy. He's older. He's got experience. He does a good job in all areas and has really improved defensively. But offensively, as you mentioned, he's another example. As the reps have piled up, there's less try too hard, less trying to dominate or anything crazy, and he's just kind of in there fighting a little bit. And when you do that, you can call it luck if you want. You can call it karma. He gets that cue shot hit, in a center field with 2 strikes. It's so huge as a byproduct of that competitiveness.
On the third row on the right.
Tony, what went into the decision to go with 3 straight lefties, and what makes each of their looks different?
Well, I think in the one situation, if I'm not mistaken, they call him A-Rod. So Deloy came in with the potential of them bunting. Really good fielder. Obviously, he's a strike thrower for us, and wanted to see the whole thing through with Arv, but the game wouldn't stop. So that was just kind of a situational matchup. Liam was our guy. We adjusted the pitching for a particular reason. To me, it didn't work out at Arkansas, but it worked out overall because we were able to get him a little rest. He'd been a catalyst for us, and obviously he's got a big outing coming up. But in the middle there was, he didn't mention it, I was a little nervous coming to the ballpark today. He was signed to go there, and there were some changes, so we were able to have Brandon come to Tennessee, and we had a pact that he was guaranteed to pitch in this game. So I'm kind of glad Liam didn't throw a no-hitter or anything like that. And then once he was in the game, he did the rest. The competitiveness was off the charts. And again, like a lot of guys, more reps, there seems to be some improvement.
On the right side, fourth row.
Coach, as the defending champs, every team has been giving you their all season. So how did it feel to go up against Texas, someone who clearly has something to prove, making their statement this year for the first time in the SEC tournament?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you said that. Come to Knoxville and inform some. It's a big deal to play Texas. It's always been a big deal. I went to school in Missouri. It's always a big deal. And our history of baseball pales in comparison to them or Arkansas. Jackie Bradley Jr.'s here. South Carolina won back-to-back. So we're not in the mix, but there seems to be a lot of noise surrounding our program, and some of it we bring on ourselves, which is fine. We at least want to be in the party, so if you can hear us or see us, that's a good thing. But every series, every play has been a big deal, and it's been a little bit of an adjustment for our guys. Some of the guys are new to that and don't understand it, and you got to navigate it. So that's our story. Who we play each time out, I haven't seen a lot of difference out of this team, to be honest with you, with who we're playing. It's either the vibe is good or it's not, and it's been very, very few. Now, there's been occasions, you guys know them. You can't blame it on the weather either. There's been a couple times where we haven't been ourselves. But I think today they were just enjoying another chance to be themselves and come to the park. It just so happened we were playing a phenomenal team.
On the right side, fourth row.
Harrison Fan, SEC Unfiltered. Coach, we know how talented this team is, top to bottom. We've seen the highs this year. We've seen kind of the struggles throughout the kind of course of the end of the year. But, what is flipping the switch like, from the regular season to the postseason with so much to play for, and, wanting to host at Lindsey Nelson, what that means for the Tennessee Volunteers, the players, the fans, everyone involved, and kind of getting hot at the right time throughout the postseason? How does that kind of, matter to you guys in the mindset going in?
Yeah, I mean, the words are appropriate, like defending, like this. Neither of these two guys were here last year, and that now seems like an eternity ago. So I think this team is not defending but pursuing. And you mentioned some good things there, and there's good stuff going on here on the weekend and all that stuff. But I'm getting older, but I think I'm young enough and around these guys. I think what they're pursuing is just, again, to get better and come to the park every day. We really have not played our best baseball. And again, if you were at the park the first, 4 innings, you probably wanted me fired. So I don't know that we have found our best who goes where in the bullpen and who's, some other things, or just our best brand of baseball. And they're making progress, and the scoreboard may not always show that, but that's what their pursuit is, and there has not been a lot of talk about other stuff. I think, if anything, maybe it's because we don't have a ton of older guys compared to some other teams, but the ones that we do, I think, have kept these guys centered, and all the extracurricular stuff has kind of been left up to you fellas to write about, and gals.
Got time for two more. Start on the left.
Coach, I know you already talked about it a little bit, but you said yesterday how this team's learning how to take a punch, and seeing them go down 4-0 but bounce back the way they did, what does that show to you as a coach?
I think that they've matured. That was the one thing about our team in 23, obviously had their own story, which to me was a really good one. But 22 was a wild group, and 24 was too. But there was an extra sense of maturity there, and that's, it's not to knock anybody else. I think that's a key ingredient. You have to wave, kind of ride out the storm, I guess is the right way to say. So we did that today. That was not a good storm. It was a no-hit storm is what it was. But it's a 9-inning ball game, and I think this team has matured and has realized when you do get punched in the gut, you got to kind of keep your composure. We got some guys that play with a lot of emotion and a lot of competitiveness, and it's probably impossible to play 9 innings and not have it be a blip on the radar screen, but for it to not be a whole chaotic mess is key for this team, because we've had a couple games way back when that's been the case. So the composure and the maturity has also improved.
All right, last one on the right.
you may have just alluded to it, but yesterday you talked about this team needing to handle punches a little bit better. Why these last 2 games have they been able to handle or manage those blows a little bit better? Is it someone in the dugout or conversations in the outfield?
Yeah, me in the dugout. Now, I think fresh start. We kind of talked about it, like opening day in MLB baseball or opening day or just a fresh start is key. It's kind of shown up a few times for our guys when we took that trip to Houston, and sometimes we take a road trip. It's kind of a fresh start, and you see a little bit of new life out of our guys. So I think it's important for them to realize that and kind of use that to their advantage, that every day can be a fresh start, even if you're in the middle of something. And again, it's not about a guy clicking or other words, I think it's just about approaching each day the way that we know best or the way that is our best version of ourselves.
All right, Coach, congratulations. We'll see you again Saturday.
Okay.